A Dose of Buckley is a channel I've been watching on this site for years, and over a week ago he made a video about amateur predator catchers, and I felt like adding my own 2 cents on the subject. 2 videos in a row inspired by other videos, ain't that something? Anyway, I've had my own issues with this type of content for a while now, and it's always frustrating to see any valid criticism levied against this type of content be shot down with, what, do you want to see child predators roam free then? And obviously not, these are disgusting individuals who deserve to have the book thrown at them, and personally, I don't give a shit if they are humiliated on camera. It is the least they deserve for attempting to act upon their disgusting impulses. So I'm not going to go to bat for the feelings of these disgusting fucks. But what do these amateur predator groups comprise of 9 times out of 10? People who don't know shit about the law, don't know how to walk the fine line between their sting-up being considered a crime of opportunity or entrapment. Most of the time, it is these predator catching groups who initiate these meetups, and the predator could easily whip up the defense of, well, I wouldn't normally commit this crime under other circumstances. You can say that's a bullshit defense if someone is going to a certain location under the pretense of meeting up with a minor and engaging in unspeakably heinous acts with them. That should be enough to throw the book at them. Unfortunately, it does not work like that, and in purely a legal context, that is a solid defense. A lot of these predator catching groups do not cooperate with law enforcement until after their sting-ups. They tell law enforcement, hey, we have these DM exchanges with this sick fuck online who thought they were going to meet up with a minor and engage in inappropriate actions with them. And unfortunately, a lot of the times, these predator catching groups have evidence that law enforcement legally cannot use. And the lack of cooperation with authorities, and on top of that, the lack of knowledge regarding the legality of what they're doing, only signals to me that these people are first and foremost concerned with the fame and the praise that comes with exposing a child predator piece of shit for who they are, and not concerned with actually making sure that these disgusting fucks face any real justice. The EDP situation is a prime example of this. The predator catching group that exposed him for sure knew of his high stature on this website. He wasn't just some rando child predator that they found on Discord or whatever the fuck. He had a channel of what, 2 or 3 million subscribers before it got pulled? They knew this was going to be a high profile catch and knew this was going to bring a lot of attention their way. And in the sting up video, you had the main guy making fat jokes at EDP's expense and making other little funny remarks at EDP's expense. And this isn't to say, oh, think of EDP's feelings when you make these sorts of jokes. I can't give a shit less about a child predator's feelings personally. I'm just saying the guy knew that this was going to be spicy content, so he wanted to get his little cheap dunks in for entertainment value, because that was his primary concern. Oh, this is going to get a lot of eyeballs on me in my predator catching group. And because they didn't take seriously a situation involving a child predator with a very large platform who was actively seeking out minors to prey upon and were more concerned with clout, their expose led to nothing, and EDP still roams free and still seeks out minors to prey upon. Like, yes, I do appreciate that they made it known that this once prominent YouTuber is a child predator, but on the other hand, I would appreciate far more if he faced any real legal consequences. A lot of this predator catching content cares far more about the spectacle than anything else. Look, we caught a child predator and humiliated them on camera, and maybe we also made them wear a silly shirt or even punched them in the face. Which, by the way, don't engage in physical violence. I personally don't care if a child predator gets decked in the face, but you'd be more likely to go to jail in that scenario. And that would only hinder your investigation, quote-unquote, even further. But yeah, okay, you embarrassed a child predator on camera, and then what? They can just leave the confrontation, continue to prey on more minors, and on top of that be even more cautious going forward. So if anything, your bid for clout only endangers children even further. But that's okay, because you got your desired views, money, and attention from the video, right? It's essentially the same issue I have with Mr. Beast's philanthropy content. In that instance, it's the commodification of being a nice and charitable person. His philanthropy content signals that you too can be nice and charitable charitable, but there is also the implicit goal of your nice and charitable behavior being equally beneficial for you. There is the potential for fame, accolades, and most importantly, money. So don't be nice and charitable just because you want to be nice and charitable, but also think about how it benefits you and boosts your image. And I think it's the same principle with a lot of these amateur predator catchers. They want the fame and the accolades that comes with exposing these wretched pieces of shit, but they think more about how said wretched pieces of shit make for good content rather than actually bringing them towards justice. And so they turn catching these horrible people into a goddamn spectacle. And it cheapens the topic of online predators seeking out minors to engage with. They should not be condensed down to a spectacle in a YouTube video or a TikTok for people to point and laugh at. These are disgusting individuals who would happily engage in unspeakable acts had an actual minor been there and they were not set up. You're likely not going to be the next Chris Hansen. To Catch a Predator actually did cooperate with law enforcement and did know how to properly conduct their investigations and sting ops, and even then they weren't perfect. There were instances where predators featured on To Catch a Predator were let go because of insufficient evidence. There was even a time when the show caught a district attorney who ended up killing himself during a police raid, and I believe that ultimately ended up getting To Catch a Predator cancelled. So if even To Catch a Predator didn't have a perfect track record, what makes you think you, an amateur, are up to the task? Now, this isn't to say that there are zero predator catchers and predator catching groups that go about their investigations and sting ops the right way, but I'd imagine that those are diamonds in the rough, and you have far more people who are more concerned with posturing like Chris Hansen and end up botching their investigations because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. This is why I am not a fan of vigilante justice. A lot of people don't know how the fuck the law works, yet they think they can take the law into their own hands. And their reasons for engaging in vigilante justice are oftentimes self-centered. Again, they want the fame and the accolades first and foremost, and are not actually concerned about bringing a heinous piece of shit like a child predator to justice. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.